only point at myself.
Come on.
As I stared through the bars, listening to the silent clock tick on the wall, I realized she was calling me by name, recalling me to scroll through improper choices, echoing voices, and the road that led me to this cold metal bed. And as I sat there listening to the stories told by lifelong residents of the cell I longed to escape from, I envisioned a road that I was unconsciously running down, yet consciously knowing the end result would be much closer to the narratives that were echoing into my ears. And if I continued on like this, white picket fences would fade into metal barbed wires surrounding empty buildings, and dirty needles would become the pen I used to write my poetry. I couldn't continue on like this. My purpose was greater than thin-stained mattresses, blue jumpsuits, and bartering for cookies. It had to be. And as I sat there on that cold metal bed, watching her lecture me into reality, it was then that I decided to answer her call. It was then that I decided to stop running from a call, because it was then that I realized that although her reflection in the mirror was blurry, and it seemed as though I was staring at a stranger, she looked back at me with a smile. Her smile folded into a rainbow of promise that was guarding the pot of gold just for me. The look in her eyes seemed to hypnotize me into forgetting why I was sitting there in the first place. And as she held out her hand to guide me into forgiveness, I recognized that I had been looking at myself the whole time, envisioning an unknown version of me that was completely distant from my reality of vodka bottles, empty Magnum wrappers, and lit Swisher sweets. Sweet flavors used to season a life I had come so accustomed to, yet turned into bitter rumbles in my stomach, hungry for a new season, and a new season was now beginning to peek itself over the horizon. And even though the brightness of the beautiful morning sky strained my eyes, I knew that it was now time to wake up. It was now time to make up a new history book to pass to my grandchildren, about how meeting her on that cold metal bed led me to invite her to walk in my shoes. A pair of shoes that walked into a church for the first time and never looked back. A pair of sneakers that gave me endurance to run in a race I never thought I was even fit enough to enter. A pair of bedroom slippers that slipped comfort into my soul when the world around me seemed to thunder and lightning. A pair of sandals that encouraged me to walk up on this stage and fold words into prophecy. And a pair of 6-inch stilettos that strutted into confidence and wore worth as an accessory.
All right.
But even though my closet still has those worn out shoes I had worn that day on that cold metal bed, they are just a reminder of how beautiful transformation can be. They are my testimony that Christ's blood can wash away dirt as if it were never even there. And although she and I still walk together hand in hand, she only speaks when spoken to. She only reminds me of my past when I need to use it to encourage others, and her reflection in the mirror is slowly fading into eternity.
Yes.
Because I am now her, a better version of myself. And it's all because God set me down on that cold metal bed. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we have one more piece.